1630 KCJJ. It's 35 degrees at our studios.
And it is Wednesday. It is the noon hour. That means it is time for Senior Talk, which is brought to you by Solon American Legion and Windmill Manor in Coralville. And I've been warned by Rex today that it will be a special bonus edition. We may go a bit long today, but that's fine. It's a good topic. Here, your host of Senior Talk, it's Rex Brandstatter.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, this is Rex Brandstatter. Thank you, Tommy. Welcome to Senior Talk on what can best be termed as not a Chamber of Commerce weather type of day. This wouldn't make anybody's advertising at all. If you haven't been out, it is exactly what it looks like. It's damp, chilly, snowy/rainy, but ladies and gentlemen, it's the end of December, so it is what it is. I'm not taking credit for the weather this week like I have like the last couple of weeks. I'm going to divert that to somebody else. Well, senior greetings and holiday greetings and Christmas greetings and all those things from right here, your friends at Senior Talk, the weekly radio program where we're going to try to identify, examine, and share important and timely information for we and you fellow seniors. Well, of course, and I always thank you for tuning in and spend some time out of your busy day to listen to Senior Talk. And I always do my very best to bring a lot of senior information to you and, of course, some fun recollections of past people, places, things, and events. And I think today it's kind of an in-between day. It's the end of 2023 and not quite the corner of 2024, so let's just talk a bunch of monkey shine stuff today, my dad would call it. Let's have some more fun than usual, in my opinion. So that's what we're going to do today. So grab yourself a sandwich, an ice cold root beer, and let's see what we can cook up right here on Senior Talk. My name is Rex Brandstatter. I'm 74 years old, and I think that we seniors have a lot on our minds, and we are going to talk about that. Maybe not today, but we talk about that every week here on Senior Talk, so thank you for tuning in. Well, in my real day job, I've been a licensed real estate broker in Iowa since 1974, which if you do the math, do the back row math, like the row I sat in high school, grade school, and college, the back row in any math class, that would be 50 years starting in 2024. And I helped lots and lots of people over those years buy homes, sell homes, buy investment properties, sell duplexes, sell 12plexes, all kinds of things like that, handle leases and negotiate leases for you. That's what I do. I work mostly these days with seniors. That's where I prefer to work. So if you're a senior, you'd like to talk about your housing, like to talk about a house you'd maybe sell, maybe you're considering down the road a couple of years, this is the time to at least talk about it so you kind of get the mechanics. It's not easy. It's not fun to pack up all your stuff and move. It's not inexpensive. But those are things that I can bring to the table and help you. I work with seniors. I work with sit-down lots and lots of times with seniors and their families. I meet with your attorney, at your attorney's office, at your kitchen table, at my office, anywhere that makes sense to you. And we just talk about your situation. A situation yesterday I was made aware of was that the man of the house, the senior man of the house, had a stroke. He's not doing all that well, and his wife is cannot hear, long-term cannot hear. So now they're having communication problems, and the problem with the stroke of a victim, gentlemen, is, as always, the master bedroom in their home is upstairs, as is the bathroom, and the washer dryers on the lower level, so they're going to be needing to make some changes, and which plays, and I don't know that they'll call me, I have no guess on that, but it plays into my opinion that your house doesn't change, we do. And sometimes as we get older, when we change, it's not for the good. Well, speaking of for the good, I'm going to tell you right now that, where's my little clip note here, that I like to talk about this part of life a lot, is the fact that made a note and I forgot. All right, I'll tell you exactly what it is. We have gained since we met last week, and I told you the sun, reminded you, I didn't tell you anything, reminded you that the sun has turned around. We have picked up 5 minutes of daylight. 5 minutes, as we didn't pay any attention to it, were 5 minutes longer days. We went from like 4:30, I think 4:36, I think we picked up 7 minutes. 4:36 was the darkest it got, and now it's at 4:43, I think it is. So 5 to 7 minutes. Wow, that's huge, ladies and gentlemen. We're on the march. We are on the march. We've talked the sun into coming back. Well, let's talk about some things. This might not pertain to you today, but it might pertain to you as when you were a young person growing up, a young girl, a young boy growing up. Could have been probably if you didn't grow up here, maybe it's your hometown. Maybe it's back where your mom and dad grew up. You heard the stories about it. You just never know. So what we thought to do, this could pertain to you, mostly pertaining to, it starts out as a young high school boy getting a part-time job, and getting a part-time job in this case for today's little fun thing on Senior Talk is at a gas station, at a local gas station. Now, the gas station could have been down the street from your home. Maybe there were a whole bunch of them. Maybe there's only one. Wally's DX station, Wally's City Service gas station. That's where everybody went. Well, because you had no choice. But if you lived in a city like Iowa City area here, or bigger, there was a million choices back in the day. Way, way, way more choices than there are today. And young boys were, for the most part, infatuated with cars because when you're age 16, you can get a driver's license. That was everybody's goal. Ages 14, you could get a driver's permit. Ages, which my little niece or somebody just got, nephew, I guess, and that's what boys did. They could also get a car, which means they could go to the gas station, fill up their own tank, or could they? We're going to talk about that. Well, most of us boys were infatuated with turning 16 and hoping to get a car of our own. Did you know, ladies and gentlemen, as of today in 2023, about 28% of young people up from 16 to 24 do not have a driver's license. That was unheard of when we were kids, right? Unheard of. It was whether you were a boy or a girl. The day you were 16, boy, you're down there taking that test, no matter where you grew up around Iowa, for sure. But the best way, a part-time job, we were infatuated with the cars and hoping to get a car of our own. And the best way was to have a part-time job and prove to your mom and dad that the job was part-time and would not interfere with school. That was a big deal. You can't get a part-time job. You'll end up working and not doing your homework. So you had to come up with that. Well, one of the quick ways to do that for a boy was to get himself a part-time job after school and maybe on a little bit on weekends. Now, that was a big deal. Because in the early 60s, your pay was about $1.10 an hour, $1.15. So a couple hours after school and maybe a few hours on Saturdays and Sundays, you counted everything by hours back then, so you could kind of extrapolate. 10 hours meant, $12, or something like that. So when I was a kid, that was a big thing. I honestly, gosh, never worked at a gas station. Now, my brother worked at a couple of them. He was lucky enough to get a job, but I didn't. So I was always a hanger-arounder guy because I was also infatuated with cars. Cars. Still infatuated with cars much to this day. So what girls don't know, and I'll spring a big one on you girls or ladies or women who are listening today, is the girls don't know this or didn't know this, but the boys who worked at the gas stations or hung around there all wanted to have their girlfriends drive by when they were working. Oh, boy, that was a good thing. You'd be at the station there hanging around. I'd be hanging around drinking a bottle of pop. We'll talk about that. My buddy would be out there pumping gas, and he'd look up, and there would go his girlfriend driving by accidentally. No, of course not. She would get another couple girls in the car, and they'd drive past the station 3 or 4 times to see LB working or Tim working or Rick working. That was part of the deal. That was part of growing up. That was part of high school. The boys all they thought it'd be so cool if their girlfriend, and maybe she'd have a friend with her, and they could just stop there and stop outside the station. And maybe they'd have him come out and pump. I'm going to get this, folks, a couple dollars worth of gas. And if they're really, quote, mean-spirited but having fun and wanted to have fun with the boyfriend, they could have him check the oil, wash the windshield, all for that $2. You remember that? That's exactly the way it used to be. I miss it. You have to be honest with you. I totally miss it. So that's what the girls saw. That's what the boys all wanted. The boys all wanted their girlfriend to drive by to see him doing masculine things, boyhood things out there. It was really cool, like I say, when she had another girl with her, girlfriend with her, high school girlfriend with her, so they could kind of talk about you, all that kind of. That's what it was. The guys who would hang around the station to be with their buddy, all who worked at the station and talk cars, all wanted to be on the lookout. We always wanted to be on the lookout for any hot cars cruising around town, which on a Friday night or a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon was pretty easy to do. All the guys in their cars, their 57 Chevys and the 52 Ford, all those things took place while you worked or hung around the gas station. It was a culture, absolute culture. Now, your job, if you worked there, was to pump gas and clean the windshield and check the oil and be nice to the driver. And who wouldn't? You'd never even thought about not being nice to the driver. Everybody stopped in to get, I underlined this in my notes, a bottle of pop and hang around. So when I go down to the gas station, I took a dime, usually 2 or 3 dimes to get that, because a nickel would get you a candy bar. So for a quarter, you could get 2 bottles of pop and a candy bar and hang around there for a long time. Sit outside the station. You wouldn't want to mess around inside because that was business, and you didn't want your buddy to get in trouble. So you just kind of hung around outside. And people would stop in the gas station maybe to use the pay phone. They come down on Saturday mornings and fill up the red tanks for the lawnmowers. It was the pop of choice in the machines, which were usually outside the station. They didn't sell a 12-pack. Nobody even heard of that. It was Pepsi, and it was Pepsi. I couldn't even remember where there was a Coke machine back then. There were, of course, but not like. And there are all kinds. Some stations had different flavors of pop. But it was go down there, and I'm going to go down to the gas station and have a Pepsi. I rode my bike many hundreds of millions of times down on the Corville Strip to gas stations and sat there to watch the cars go by on the Corville Strip. Honest to gosh. Well, I got to thinking the other day about gas stations that I remember, and I'm going to read a few, talk about a few. Not a full list because I want to go back to for the 50s. I'm pretty good at the 50s. I had a big discussion going this morning about a place called the Riverside Inn. The Riverside Inn was a restaurant. Nobody seemed to remember. We got one taker on it this morning out of about 15 to 20 who chatted with me about that online, and it was called the Riverside Inn. And get this, if you will. Today you're going to have to stay with me on directions. So hopefully I get them right. So on the southeast corner of Iowa Avenue and Riverside Drive, just west of the river, southeast corner of Iowa Avenue and Riverside Drive, where the walkover bridge to Curlicue Bridge is, there sat the Riverside Inn restaurant. And so someone said to me, well, it was between the Riverside Drive and the river. Yes, it was. And the big joke was around town, well, someday that's going to slide into the river. Well, it never did. But here's the deal. When was it in business? As far as I remember, it was after World War II until the late 50s. And what precipitated it leaving, Rex? Well, when they put in that walkover bridge and they widened Riverside Drive to 4 lanes, that added another lane on the east side, and kaput, kibosh, see you later. There went the Riverside Inn. So that was the deal. That was the Riverside Inn. So let's think about some gas station. No particular order, no particular side of town. My little pea brain, as I was going, I came up with these things. And I'll see if I can't come up with some anecdotes about each one. Tommy's here to help me today. We'll just see what we can come up with. How about Barney's DX? Now, Barney's DX was a hang around downtown. Barney's DX, I know some of the old guys that work there. It's at the northeast corner of Lynn Street and College. It's now the Mearden Law Office. That was Barney's DX, the home of Mearden Law Office. It faced west, and it had gas and service. Now, when I was a kid, these were called filling stations because you filled your car up, and or service stations. My dad and my mom, to their last days, called it a service station because that's the way you get your car service on. That's what it was. Barney's DX, downtown Iowa City. How about the Deep Rock Station on the northeast corner of Burlington and Lynn, just a 1 block south of Barney's DX, at the Deep Rock Station. And now it's a UPS packing store or something like that. And the Deep Rock also had another station. We'll talk about, if I recall, maybe I'll forget, I don't know. There was a Deep Rock station, if I recall, down on Kirkwood Avenue. There was another Deep Rock station, which turned into something else. So I don't know the origins of Deep Rock, but that's where it was. The northeast corner of Gilbert and College. I don't remember the Gilbert and College. Let's see, what would that be? Gilbert and College. Gilbert and College, the northeast corner. That's where later it turned out to be the Greyhound Bus Depot. Was that a Texaco station in there? It was right south of You Smash 'Em I Fix 'Em, right next to Wilson's Sporting Goods. By the way, You Smash 'Em I Fix 'Em was a body shop right to the north of that gas station. They answered the phone, "You smash 'em." They never said, "You smash 'em, we fix 'em." They just answered the phone, "You smash 'em." I always thought that was the greatest name for a business in Iowa City. You smash 'em, we fix 'em. Bob and Henry's on the southwest corner of Burlington Street and Gilbert, just a block south of the one we just talked about, and located, actually, you remember now, Burlington Street was also known as, AKA, also known as, or FKA, formerly known as what? Highway 6. So, and it had the old, quaint look of the Spires gas station. It was on the south side, faced to the north. It was located on Highway 6. It was a long-time landmark station. It was there in high school, and they had the gas and service. They serviced a lot of, like Barney's DX would have, they serviced a lot of cars for people who worked downtown. You'd drop your car off at Bob and Henry's in the morning and pick it up at 5 o'clock when they left work. So they created a great service at Bob and Henry's. I think later on, I think it might have been Bob and Henry's DX, but I'm not sure of it. How about the little bitty Shell station that sat on an angle at the southeast corner of Dubuque and Burlington? Dubuque and Burlington, which is also on Highway 6. It was like, at one time, one of the 4-acre boys that worked in there, and it was a little dinky station. You pulled in there on an angle. It was across from Knowles, the Chevy and Buick and Cadillac garage right across the street there. That's where it was, and we'd stop in there in high school and get the famous $2 worth of gas. How about the Conoco station? I think it was Conoco, pretty sure, at the southeast corner of Burlington and Clinton. That'd be right south of downtown. That'd be right across the street from the Standard station, or later on to a Campus Standard downtown, okay? Now, as long as I'm right there, I don't want to forget one in case I do. So there was the Conoco station of Burlington and Clinton. Let's see, the Standard station in the northeast corner of Burlington and Clinton, the Standard station, right? And right across the street to the west, immediately across the street to the west was what? It was a Dividend station. You remember Dividend? And their big sign, big yellow sign, it was called Dividend Bonded Gas. I have no idea what bonded gas was, but I know a couple of guys in my high school class that worked down there part-time, and they wore white coveralls, from the big white mechanics-type coveralls, and you could go in the station and pay your $2, or they had change, and they had those coin changers on their belts. Give them $2, or you give them $3, and you only got $2.50. They could just punch out 2 quarters real quick. That's neat stuff. There was a Phillips station on the southeast corner. Get this, southeast corner of Burlington and Madison. Now, that was right across the street from Dean Jones, the Oldsmobile Garage, which is right across the street, which was also right across the street on the northwest of that corner, which was, in later days, Jim Cannon from Corwell had a Shell station there. You remember that? So on that corner alone, there was a grocery store in the southwest corner. There was a gas station on the southeast corner. Now, that gas station, which was a 66 station, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's gone. It was a convenience store after it was a gas station. Now it's gone. I don't know who bought it, but probably something to do with the apartments next door. So there was that 66 station, and then across the street was Jim Cannon's Shell station. And his kids, most of his boys worked there. And remember, these places were all situated along Highway 6. That was the main drag through Iowa City. The Oldsmobile Garage and Dean Jones, and later on it was Dunlap Motors, was on that northeast corner right there. Now it's University Computer Center, Weig Computer Center was there. And Dean Jones owned the Oldsmobile Garage. And Niall Kinnick worked there part-time in customer service. And I talked to Dean many years ago. He was a great guy, by the way. I said, what was Niall's job there? He just kind of looked up in the air. He said, Niall, we really didn't have a job, but we wanted Niall Kinnick to be there. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, just what you always suspected. They didn't do anything. Yeah. But this is 1938, Niall worked there, and his mother was not happy because she wanted him to totally work on his studies. So Niall Kinnick worked there. And customer service, he would take people, they'd drop off the car, he'd take them to their office on campus somewhere, or he'd go out and talk to them while they were filling gas. He did not fill gas, pump gas. Come in the station, he'd help them find this or that, or get them a Coke or whatever it was. That was, so he hired Niall Kinnick, worked there for sure. The Vitosh Standard station, Vitosh Standard. Now, there's still a station there, but they don't pump gas. They only repair cars. Up on the northwest corner of Gilbert and Bloomington, right out the back door of Mercy Hospital. Gilbert and Bloomington is still there, but no gas. We always called it was a standard station up there. We always called it Secret Standard Station because it wasn't on the main drag anywhere, but, they had their own neighborhood customers. Lots and lots of, if you go back in the day, before the war, I don't know how long it was there, but I'm sure it was probably there before the war. A lot of businessmen there and the university employees did do business there for sure. So that was up at Secret Standard Station. Now we had Leo's Standard Station on the southeast corner of Dubuque and Market. Leo's Standard Station. Leo Lennox had a standard station there. And his main man down there, the guy who worked there for 100 years, was Ray Floschinger worked there. Floschinger. And my dad told me one time that, let's go back across. It was Amelon Skelly on the northeast corner, all right? But better known as Amelon Skelly. And what else was it known for? What else is it Amelon Skelly on the northeast corner of Dubuque Street Market? Home of what? What did they plant every year? Remember that? A landmark. It was a home of tall corn. And it was used by lots and lots of people to give directions. To this day, I wish it's a Casey's now, for God's sakes. I'm not around Casey's. I'm not picking on, but it's a landmark. They should go out there and plant some corn. Or across the street at Leo's gas station, what's now a rib place, where Leo Lennox and his sidekick buddy Ray Floschinger worked for just forever, folks. Forever and ever and ever. And my dad ran into Ray Floschinger in World War II over in Africa. His outfit, they called it. The outfit was going through, and he was talking to a guy and said, "Are you Ray?" And he says, "Are you Brandy?" And there they met, half the world away in their army get-ups and jeeps and stuff like that. So my dad traded there quite a bit. How about the Werco station down in the northeast corner of South Dubuque and Benton Street, catty corner from the Johnson County Administration Building? It's now a gas station and a C-store. And that was where the Werco station, as far as I know, is the only Werco station in town back then. How about and I told you about the dividend bonded gas. And all my buddies, they were all embarrassed. They had to wear those white coveralls. And inside the office, if you went in there and paid inside, the guy who ran it inside had a cage. We always, what the heck's wrong with that guy? I had to put him in a cage. Well, I guess in their chain, they were worried about people robbing them and robbing the guy in the gas station. The Riverside Sinclair. That would be on the northwest corner of Riverside Drive and West Benton Street. Riverside Sinclair. You know, and that was down there on the corner. In fact, it's been there since not too long ago. Riverside Sinclair was right south of on that same city block as Hartwig Motors. I was thinking there was one on another one right there, but no, there really wasn't. However, across the street to the south was a gas station. It was Doc Standard over there for a long, long time. And across the street to the east over there, on the east, on that southeast corner, seems to me that there was a 66 station, Phillips 66. Now, Phillips 66 was owned by Phillips Oil out of Oklahoma. And the head of the Phillips family was big in Boy Scouts. And the Phillips Oil Company gave 33,000 acres of prime land and mountains in New Mexico to the Boy Scouts of America. And to this day, it's called Philmont Scout Ranch. Philmont. Named after Mount Phillips, named after, for the Boy Scouts, named after the man who owned Phillips Oil Company. So if you're ever at a Phillips station, the guys who work there, they won't have a clue, but it gives you a little bit of hint on the history of those things. So we've got Amelon Skelly, the Werco, a dividend bonded gas. We've got Riverside, Texaco. And next to the Dairy Queen on Riverside, there was Riverside Texaco station. Now they're selling, I believe they sell scooters and things like that. That's where they sell that. And it was a gas station up to not long ago, but that was a Riverside Texaco next to Dairy Queen, right north of Dairy Queen down there. You bet. There was the Doc Standard. And how about where McDonald's is located now on that 66 station? Was it Riverside? I'm going to guess Riverside 66. Now, what else was on that southeast corner later on? There was a gas station, but when I was in high school also, there was Kennedy Motors used the backyard of the gas station for what? Between there and the river, that was their used car lot. And they had a kind of a little ticket office over there where the salesman would sit over there. Usually sat there outdoors in a lawn chair under a shade tree with a big lineup of old used cars. And, of course, Kennedy Motors was over on Riverside Drive. And they were the Rambler garage. They were the American Motors garage. Then they had Nash and Rambler right across the street from later became Hartwig. Oh, interesting stuff, huh? How about Paul's Shell Station? Now, these could have been different names over the years if you grew up earlier than I did. Paul's Shell Station, which was at the Paul's Shell Station was at the northwest corner of Highway 16 and 218. I think there's Joanne Fabrics is there or somebody right there. On that corner, the gas station is gone after they put a wide lane in. They took that out. They bought that corner, the right-of-way, DOT right-of-way. And so now it's a vacant lot. But that was Paul Christian had a Shell station over there. And that was a big brand back then. And if you recall, Paul Christian had a four-wheel drive blue Chevy pickup that set real high, and it was a tow truck. And I don't know if he pushed snow, but they were all set down there. And it was a great location. It was right across the street from Wardway, which if you've been around long enough, across the street, that mall over there, there's a Hardee's over there, and I mean, all kinds of things over there, Fin and Feather. That was in 1967, that opened as a big shopping center, for sure. So Paul Christian had the gas station right there, and of course, then Spindler Tires right to the west. I don't know what that's still a tire shop. I don't know if it's Spindler, but there I don't think that they had gas in there. Well, let's go out to the white. It was the White Pine. It was on Muscatine. You remember that? It was a corner of First Avenue and Muscatine. On that northwest corner, there was a Conoco station there. A friend of mine had it. I think he called it Towncrest Conoco, for sure. And let's don't forget about Towncrest DX out there that my friend, classmate Denny Parrott had. Towncrest DX, which again was located on Highway 6, but it was back in the day. Towncrest was hot places to go with all the doctors' offices. So when there was a gas station out there. On that corner, there was a restaurant there called the White Pine Inn. There was a big row of White Pine Street. Remember, KFC ended up out there. Well, on that corner was I think it was called Steve's Conoco for a while, maybe another Conoco station, but it was Towncrest Conoco station, and of course Towncrest DX. Those stations did a lot of service work due to the doctor's offices being out there, and they were just not very far from City High, and so there were kids stopping in there to get gas. Bob Bell's Standard. Do you remember Bob Bell's Standard station out there? Now, that was across from that Conoco station. There's a convenience store there now, and on the east side of that of that convenience store, the east side of that lot was Bob Bell's Standard. Now, for you Iowa City people who remember this, across the street on the southwest corner of that intersection of where am I at there? I'm on First Avenue and Muscatine, the southwest corner, was an IOCO station, IOCO, Indiana Oil Company. They had a skinny little gas station that ran north and south, and the lot ran north and south, and it got closed down years ago because they had leaky tanks, so the Iowa DNR went in there and closed that down. Wow, isn't that fun stuff? That was an IOCO station. Well, how about the Mall Mobile station? Now, it was part of the original footprint of the Sycamore Mall. It's down there where Bob Euchre ran that. Remember Bob? Was that his name, Bob Euchre? I believe it was. Not the baseball Bob Euchre. Euchre. I believe.
Euler.
Euler.
I actually know this. Euler, yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Tommy. There you go. That's how we get the right thing here. Not Bob Euchre. He is the good seat, say, buddy. He's the voice of the Milwaukee Brewers. And Bob Euler owned that gas station down there. It was Mall Mobile. Sycamore Mall. It's right where the McDonald's is now. That was the Mall Mobile station. Thank you so much. Bob Euler. I'm making my notes here. And then we had on Highland Avenue, across from Nagel Lumber Company down there, we had George's DX. George Dre owned the Highland. On that corner, he had a gas station, Highland DX. Right on Gilbert Street and on Highland Avenue, Rex. That's why they called it Highland DX. Pretty sure. Now there was another one across the road over there where, if you recall, on the corner over there, which is now the grocery store on the corner over there, New World Grocery or a new something grocery store across the grocery store. That was built as a what was that built as? That was built as a King's Food Host. There you go. a King's Food House, and right on the east side of that was a robo station. It was a car wash, like I think it was 50 cents instead of the quarter with the wine. And it would go round and round your car, and it had plastic or glass walls so you could see in there. And it had 2 or 3 bays. And when it first came to Iowa City, we drove clear from Coralville to get an automatic car wash. To get an automatic car wash, that's what we did. We went down there many, many times. In high school, we went down there all the time. Then we had to the east of that, up on the Keokuk and the bypass, we had the Vitosh Standard Station. The other one of the Vitosh twin boys had a standard station down there, which is now a convenience store. Now a big convenience store. Remember, they took out what they took out. They took out the Audi garage. Then it was Iowa City Bricks, Brickyard there. They bought both of those. It was called Auto House. Remember Auto House? Yeah, sure you do. And on the corner there was a gas station, and right behind that, right to the south of that, is where Dunlap Motors, the Oldsmobile garage, moved when they left about late 1960s. When they left Iowa City, when they were downtown down there on the northeast corner where Wheat Computer Center is, on the northeast corner of Madison and Burlington, excuse me, they got out of the gas business and took the Oldsmobile garage out there where that kind of the Pizza Hut is, and right behind it, right south of that, is some sort of repair station, or I don't know what they work on now, but that was the Oldsmobile garage down there. For sure. So let's see how many gas stations, and a lot of these places also, ladies and gentlemen, were service stations. So maybe your dad or your uncle or your neighbor owned that gas station, but maybe your dad worked there, maybe your uncle worked there, maybe your friends worked there full time every day, all day. They work there, they pump gas, and they work in there until they work in there putting brakes on my car, and then the car would pull in for service, and it would run over the rubber hose, go ding, ding, and they'd look around. Whoever was low man had to go out and pump gas. And when they came out to pump gas, it was more than pump gas. How can I help you? You'd roll your window down. $3 worth, $2 worth. And give me $5 worth. So they'd do that. Or you could say what the music to their ears was fill her up. And if you said fill her up on certain days in gas station, with 12 gallons or more, you got your pick of a Hawkeye glass. You got your pick of a maybe a scarf, maybe a different premium they call it. You got a premium. You could go into the station, or they'd have them piled up out there between the pumps. They'd have a pyramid built with the Hawkeye glasses. You go in there, and with any fill up, of course, we go in there. We need to fill it up. We'd only need $3 or something, So they had to put 12 gallons or more, 10 gallons. But it was fun going to the gas station. They washed your windshield for you. They checked the oil, and if your girlfriend or girlfriend wannabe was in the car, she'd have you check the oil, and they would wash the little wing windows for you, and all kinds of stuff like that. They'd also, if you were a reasonable person, your mom or your grandma, they'd also wipe off the headlights for you. I mean, your tail lights. It was a real damn. Part of the fun for those guys was, if you were a kid, was knowing where the gas cap was. So do you know where it was on a 57 Chevy? Do you know where it was on a 56 Chevy? How about a 55 Chevy? How about a 62 Pontiac? I've got a 1970 Pontiac GTO. Do you know where the gas filling tube is on that one? Well, everybody had their different one. And it was all, sometimes you never could find it, and that's the way the car manufacturer wanted. So you couldn't really find it because they didn't want everybody to see it. So, I mean, the gas station was an experience. It, honestly, gosh, wasn't. When I went in there, a gas station, some of them on the Coralville Strip, they had, you could buy a candy bar. And you could get a Pepsi out of the machine. And the one at Leo's Gulf, which was earlier the Superior 400 station on the southeast corner of Highway 6 West on the Coralville Strip and First Avenue, Hayden Fry Way, that was the Superior 400 station owned by the Carpenter family that also later on owned Coral Fruit Market. That was their gas station, and they had what they call a rack outside. They changed the oil outside. I don't think the Seatons or Ralston's groceries on Muscatine had gas back in the day. Did they? I would think that they did, but I don't know. I'll bet they did because both are on Old Highway 6. Did Spindler's Tire have it? I don't know. Did Clem's Market on Rochester have gas? It was on Highway 1. I'll bet it did. I don't know that. Midtown or Midway Oil on Iowa and Dodge. You know that? Midtown, which it used to be Doug's Diner. It was a Hometown Oil. Corner of Iowa Avenue, the northwest corner of Iowa and Dodge. Iowa and died. That right? Iowan died. Huh? Now a restaurant. In the 60s, it was Doug's Diner. Well, actually, it blew up. That was the railroad tracks went out there and went from downtown Iowa City down behind the rec center up through out through Morris area. And a gentleman told me today that when he worked there in I think he said the 50s, that when the train would go by, they'd have to go move cars out of the way so the train wouldn't hit the cars. Now that's also where Iowa Lumber Company was out there too, right across the street. So I just came up with a couple more names here as I'm going. Yeah, you just can't think of all of them. You just can't. And of course, there were more of them downtown back before the war, things like that. But I don't quite go back that far. So on the northeast corner of Rocky Shore and Highway 6, northeast corner, was the Holiday gas station. Remember that, the Holiday gas station? Now, we went in there in high school. We bought guns in there. We bought hunting supplies, cameras, all kinds of stuff. Hudson Oil on the Coralville Strip. How about the Imperial gas station down on the Riverside Drive, way down by the airport? The Imperial gas station. Isn't that interesting? All of those places. It was right south of the airport down there, and we'd go down there because they had kind of a neat looking T-shirt. We were always trying to buy enough gas to get a T-shirt. The Imperial station was down. Wow. How about Wayne Rouse City Service and the Hudson Oil there on the Coralville Strip? Now in Hudson Oil, I had a '57 Chevy that used more oil than gas. You could stop. They sold bulk oil in a quart for 10 cents. Being a high school kid, I thought that was a bargain. Wayne Rouse had a city service station on the Coralville Strip. And it was just east of the Coralville restaurant, which now is a Chinese restaurant or Oriental restaurant on the corner. It sat right there, and it was also owned by a man named Dell. I'll think his name in a minute. He had it too. And they had huge above-ground tanks out the back. So when they would come to fill their tanks to put oil, it wasn't below the ground, it was above ground. Of course, one of them blew up one time, had a big explosion down there. That's a true story. Now, they had what they called a gas pump roulette down there. So you would get out and now they helped you pump it. So if you got out and stood there, and they put it in, it had the new get this way, had the new automatic shut-off valves on them. That was the big thing. It had the new automatic shut off, which is you have to have that now, of course. They came to your car and put the gas in, and if the gas handle when they locked it on there, and if that clicked off and stopped, and it was at $3.33, you got your gas free. So what are the odds? You'd go there. It never went more than about $6.66 because gas, you could fill 2 cars up for that back then. You got it free. It was a huge, it was a huge advertising. High school kids, we went there, but also when that gas station was there, when you turned in there, and you went down below the strip. That's how it was down below the strip. And then on that, we had the Superior 400 on that side over there across the street. And they had that oil rack outside. And folks, Tommy, I can't even believe we went through about 45 minutes that quick. I'm having more fun than a barrel of monkeys, ladies and gentlemen. I just want you to think back. It could have been your hometown. There are a lot more gas stations that I can't cover. Yes, sir.
I'm trying to think of one. I apologize. I was talking to Hunter, so I might have missed it. There was one on the far south end of Clinton Street, kind of across from where the Johnson County Administration Building.
You bet. That's the old Wereco station.
Okay, yeah, because I remember a big Pegasus logo out there.
That's right. Do you remember Peaster Derby? It was a gas on First Avenue in Coralville. There was a Peaster, and it was owned by Jack Peaster. And there was Marv's 66 station on First Avenue. There was a
Little Red Barn.
That Little Red Barn.
Hayden Fry owned a part of that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And let's see what else is out there. Paul Gardner, my neighbor, had a gas station there on First Avenue, right there. There was the Little Red Barn was down there. On the corner, here's a good one for you, ladies. On the southwest corner and the northwest corner of First Avenue, right across the street from our River Park restaurant, on that corner over there was a Dean Jones and Wayne Rowell, the same guys we talked about. They had a gas station there. It wasn't a Hudson. It was an oil station. It was a Shell station. Was across the street. A kosher store was a Shell station. And Dean Jones, I believe it might have been a Standard station. There was a gas station there. So they were on every corner, but they didn't have groceries. They didn't have anything. If you got a bottle of pop, you were lucky. They worked on your car. That's exactly what they did. Now, of course, you can't come up with that. So, when you walked in there, they cleaned your windshield. They did your headlights. They check your oil, did all those things for the now. You don't do that. You pump your own. The state of Oregon still has a law that says they have to pump your gas because they didn't want to cut out jobs. So that's the story. Sorry I missed some. There's more to come. You can call me at my senior line at 319-330-5534. Just leave a message if you want, or if you get me on the phone, be happy to talk. There's more of them around. If you want to send me an email and say, don't forget this one, which would be rex@rexrb.com, rex@rexrb.com. You can go there. You can go online on your computer and go to a site called You Think You Grew Up in Iowa City and Coralville. You can put it in there. This is lots of fun, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad you listened. So we've got some work ahead of us. So we're working on this weather. We'll talk about the weather more. One of my mile posts for spring happens this next week. We're going to get into that. We've got the Iowa Hawkeyes. We've got a lot of sports this weekend. But the big one, of course, is next Monday. We've got the Iowa Hawkeyes on New Year's Day playing Tennessee in the bowl game and down in Florida. And we've got to keep our fingers crossed. Been some things happen. The Tennessee quarterback, hotshot quarterback, is ruled out for the game because he went into the transfer portal. So we've got some things happening, ladies and gentlemen. We've got all kind of a Hawkeye weekend. It's going to be the end of the year. I wanted to put this show together. If you like it, let me know. We'll do some more of it. I've got them in. I've got restaurants. Some good days going by. I've got more. It's what I do. I like to do it. Thank you so much for listening to Senior Talk. And thanks to everybody for sitting back there and saying, hey, this is kind of a good time. This is Rex Brandstatter saying, we'll see you next time. So long.
Looking for a place with a fun, casual atmosphere? Check out the Solon American Legion, a downtown staple for decades and a gathering place for veterans of all ages from all over the area. The Solon American Legion focuses on the basics, like home-style breakfasts, diner-style baskets and appetizers, and your favorite cold beer on tap. Throughout the year, the Solon American Legion hosts great events, including live bands, special dinners, and bingo.